Jump in right to the tail of the tape. Issac Avelar, Canelito is 23 years old. Lukas is 36, both 5'6". Lukas is 23-0, but this is his United States debut. He's had 22 bouts in Namibia, his home nation, and one in Zimbabwe. So he makes his U.S. debut here on a Fox pay-per-view prelim. Here's Jimmy Lennon.
Ladies and gentlemen, from AT&T Stadium here in Arlington, Texas, Premier Boxing Champions presents the FS2 PBC Prelims featured attraction of the evening, brought to you by Geico. Our judges scoring from ringside: Robert Chapa, David Iacobucci, and Javier Martinez. All right, fans, here we go. Featherweights in the ring. We're scheduled 10 rounds of boxing. Introducing to you first on my left, fighting out of the red corner, wearing camouflage trunks, hailing from Windhoek, Namibia. He weighed in at 127.5 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign to the ring with a record of 23 wins, no losses, 16 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight making his PBC debut, please welcome the undefeated fighter known as the Desert Storm, Sakaria Lukas. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing orange trunks with black trim, hailing from Aguascalientes, Mexico. His weight, 126.75 pounds. His record, 16 wins, 2 losses, with 10 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the southpaw contender, introducing Issac Canelito Avelar. Had a referee in charge, now to give instructions, Rosario Solis.
All right, guys, give the instructions in the dressing room. Listo, personas en el vestidor. Protect yourself at all times. Protect todo el tiempo, okay?
And you heard from Sean Porter. I agree with him. This is a career-defining night for Danny Garcia. You can join us on Twitter. Let us know who you think will win tonight's main event. Welterweight Championship of the World, Errol Spence Jr., Danny Garcia. You can tweet your answer to @PBC on Fox. And right now we have Spence by decision at 48%. It's still early, but you can let us know what you think. Spence by KO at 28%, the second highest selection. So people thinking Errol Spence tonight, Lennox, as we get underway here. Round number 1, Issac Avelar, Sakaria Lukas. Avelar known as Canelito with the cinnamon hair, like Canelo, the middleweight champion of the world. But he's a smaller version, hence Canelito.
Yes, so
we don't need translation, do we?
No.
Active right now, throwing a hook to the body. And Lukas here, again, making his U.S. debut. His 23 fights in Africa, 23-0 in Namibia, 36 years old. Took this fight on short notice.
I like what Avelar's doing right now. He's just coming straight out and coming to he means business. He's throwing punches and bunches, and he's looking for the knockout.
Yeah, Miguel Flores moved up in this card when Julio Ceja dropped out. That was to be Flores versus Avelar. So instead of getting Flores, who had just fought Leo Santa Cruz, he gets Lukas. So Avelar here with what you would think would be a softer touch, an easier night, but he's got to do his job.
Yeah, Lukas is looking good as well. He's you know, coming out, he's showing no fear, he's punching back, and he's moving around. So both guys are really getting used to each other right now.
And that's quite a switch too, Lennox, right? I mean, Avelar then goes from B side to A side. Yeah. Now it's like, hey, you're supposed to win now. Because before it was like, well, Flores is the guy that's supposed to win that fight. Avelar now comes in and, again, facing an undefeated opponent, but somebody with a lot less experience internationally. Good body work there by Avelar.
Yeah, you seen Lukas hold him in the headlock a second ago, and Avelar came out with a right hook, and the ref didn't really warn him. Ref should have warned him about that. Yeah, here's the headlock, and then, you know, Avelar didn't like that, so he gave him a punch with the right hand, but the referee should have said no punching and gave both guys a warning.
Final minute of the first round. Brian Kenny and Lennox Lewis here. Kate Abdo and Sean Porter up top at our host position. Joe Goosen will be down with us here ringside for the next fight. We'll let him clean up after his work with Vito Milnicki. Jordan Plant with us as well. And Larry Hazard is our unofficial scorer. who's come in handy already in this fight, just to let us know if we've not lost our minds. That happens sometimes. It's some strange scoring already here tonight. Final 30 seconds of the first round. Avelar going to work again and finishes up nicely with a right hook to the head.
Lukas, when he's against the ropes, he's just standing in one spot. He should be looking to get off the ropes. There's no good place if he's on the ropes.
Final fight of our 3-fight card on FS2. After this, we jump over to pay-per-view. We hope to see you over on the pay-per-view. 4 big fights coming your way, of course, culminating with the welterweight championship of the world. Tough to tell, Lennox, that Sebastian Fundora there is 6'6" as he sits down and relaxed, but towering Inferno fights in our co-feature later tonight. 6'6", 154 on the pay-per-view.
Oh, he's like a lurch. He's all over that big spider.
And we're always on him as we start round number 2 with Issac Avelar and Sakaria Lukas. But we're, obviously at 6'6", at junior middleweight, he should use that length and that height. But in his last fight against Nathaniel Gallimore, he threw power punches and got a knockout win. So that might work for him too.
Yeah, there again, he's on the ropes. When anytime he gets close to the ropes, he needs to move away because he's up against a puncher.
Avelar coming up with crisp combinations.
Yeah, Avelar's throwing some punches, and they're serious punches. You don't want to be in the ropes with those punches. Right now, Lukas, when he's on the ropes, he has no escape route, so he's going to get hit.
That was on the border from Lukas there, but those are good, crisp body shots. Follows up with a left to the head. Straight up the middle now, and Lukas is in trouble.
Yeah, Avelar does his most damage when Lukas is up against the ropes. But Lukas is only throwing one punch and then really waiting to get punched.
Yeah, Lukas does just not have the experience that Avelar does. Coming out of Mexico with everybody that he's been sparring and fighting on the way up, even though Lukas is undefeated. Yeah, his last fight was fought at the After School Center. That's the name of the place. After School Center in Windhoek against a 1-7 opponent. So he goes from, I don't know, a rec center to AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas. That's quite a jump in one fight.
Avelar is looking sharp to me right now. He's throwing some good crisp punches hard, and he's not getting hit afterwards. He's got a good defense. He's moving the head. His head's not in one spot.
And he threw that right hand to the head. There's another left hand straight up the middle. Lands flush. He throws a left to the body, left to the head. 14 of his 21 punches landed in the first were body shots. So he is really active on the body shot. And now he's a warning for Avelar, but it was Lukas who also threw late.
Yes, it was.
It's always the second kid that gets in trouble.
I know, that was the situation.
Good combination there by Avelar. Nice uppercut as well.
Good right by Lukas in there. He caught Avelar coming in with that right hand.
Counter shot there by Avelar. Canelito. Nicely done, as he does look sharp. Well put, Lennox. Looks sharp, looks crisp in this fight so far. Final 20 seconds, round number 2, scheduled for 10. Again, the last fight of the night here on FS2, but we invite you to join us for the rest of the night. 4 fights on the pay-per-view. Errol Spence, Danny Garcia in the main event. Canelito absorbs a right hand there from Lukas just before the bell.
And here's Avelar. Good defense here. Here he's coming with some punches, coming in with some combinations, left, right, ending off with a good left.
That was a left to the chest too, Lennox. You ever aim for the middle of the body like that?
Yeah. Hit the guy right where he breathes.
All right.
Hit him in the heart.
Easy, Lennox. We're gonna get Joe Goosen out here to calm you down. Take it easy. Good that we have the plexiglass here. Lennox the Lion is back. Again, Joe Goosen's going to join us for the pay-per-view, but Lennox, it's been a pleasure here just calling the fights with you ringside as we're back physically together again.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a lot of fun to be here, and there's real energy here in this football stadium. In the home of the Dallas Cowboys, the Ring of Honor is up here just above us. There's Leroy Jordan, names Roger Staubach, and there's fans in this building. I mean, it's not the 47,000 that Spence has put in here before. That's not allowed now. But just to have some fans, it's invigorating.
Yeah, I mean, I remember his last fight here. The place was packed. Now You know, it's kind of mellowed out a little bit. Not too much people, but you know, still a big fight.
We're expanding the bubble. Still a lot of COVID precautions, of course. What you don't see here between fights, there's a crew that goes in there in hazmat suits, and they try to clean everything out as much as possible in the ring in between fights. They're busy for a good 5-10 minutes. Good body work there by Canalito. Again, goes to the body on Lukas. Outlanding Lukas 67-30 so far. Midway through the third.
Yeah, Lukas throws one jab, and like I said, he just stops and waits for Avelar to come back with his combinations. He needs to be throwing double jab like that and kind of moving forward and throw a right hand. Combinations.
Right hook there from Avelar as well. He just has nice, crisp, good-looking punches, Canalito, doesn't he?
Yeah, and you know, when they land with a thump.
Just good balance as well. Good shot there from Lukas, who was able to show some professional pride in here tonight. He's fighting back well. Don't know if he's winning rounds, but doing his best. You know, he was looking to get a break after losing a step-up fight back in March because of the pandemic. He was to fight Jesse Magdaleno. There's Danny Garcia, former junior welterweight champion of the world, taking this on.
Looking relaxed.
Long way to go, right, Lennox?
Oh yeah, I mean, at this time, he's, you know, this is what he's supposed to do, relax. What I usually do in the dressing room is sleep.
You would actually go to sleep?
Yeah, I go to sleep because it speeds up the time. You know, when you're sitting there waiting for the fight and watching all these fights, for me, it gets me tired because, you know, I'm hyped already going in there. So I'm trying to keep myself calm until the right amount of time.
Errol Spence is said to be on his way. This is hometown. He knows the way, he knows the route, but he's on his way. Garcia is here, and we step away.
Here comes Avelar coming with a good straight left, and Lukas is coming back with his own right. And here's another angle at it. Straight punch, good punch. He needs to be throwing more punches like that. And here's Avelar coming back with his straight left. And Lukas was off balance there a little bit, so he stumbled back after getting hit with that shot. He recovered well, though.
And as we start round 4, Avelar with a hard shot drove Lukas back again. And you see the body shots widely in favor of Avelar, and total punches landed right now 82-37. Larry Hazard is with us. Let's get the score through 3 rounds. How do you have it, Larry?
Hey guys, I got Avelar ahead 30-27. He's doing a crisper combinations, good defense. And Lukas, he just has a limited toolbox. You know, and he's just being outscored defensively and offensively. So I got him down 30-27, 3 rounds to 0.
Larry, thank you so much. Larry with us the whole night as we will jump over to the pay-per-view after this fight is done. And just a few more comments from Lennox Lewis, former heavyweight champion of the world. By the way, there's heavyweights from your era that are still fighting, Lennox. I don't know if you noticed. Like, you showed some fire in that last round. Hit to the heart. And there's did you see Tyson Roy Jones?
Oh, yeah. I seen Tyson Roy Jones.
What'd you think?
I thought that, you know, it was unfair for Roy Jones because the referee was warning him and saying, you're holding. And I'm like, yo, of course he's holding. He's in there with Tyson. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to get hit.
A million pay-per-view buys. Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that shot.
Oh, he was off balance with that.
Wobbled. Okay, thought he was hurt.
He actually stepped over his foot and tripped.
So, Lennox, I'm just saying, you know, we joke with you. Oh, Lennox, you're coming back, but you look, that's a legitimate enterprise at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, mum's the word.
All right. I'm not pressing you on it. You let us know, though. All right? Just let us know. Lennox said that was a super fight. I even mentioned that with the plexiglass that's actually between us. That was between you and Tyson after Tyson went after you in New York. And then from that point forward, it was like, we can't let these guys get near each other until we put them in the ring.
Yeah, first time a human chain in the middle of the ring. and it's funny because I was standing back in my corner and Mike Tyson was standing close to the middle, looking over these.
And then they let you fight.
Yes.
Final 30 seconds here, round number 4. More of the same from Issac Avelar of Mexico. Southpaw is fought crisply. Lukas just trying to, a big step-up fight here, doing his best. And then, of course, we've got the welterweight championship of the world, and we'll talk about that in the next round if we get a few rounds in here about what to look for in that fight. And do not miss the first round of the main event. We're back after this. And first time back in since that mega fight with Sean Porter last September and his car accident only 12 days later. And I mentioned that as we get to round 5, Issac Avelar in the orange trunks and Sakaria Lukas of Namibia in the kind of green and black camouflage. That Lennox, the more I think about it, the more that first round is just so vitally important. Spence and Garcia, where Errol Spence, we've got to see how he physically reacts in a big moment, right? Mentally, physically after the car crash. And also, will Danny Garcia bring enough weaponry and offense to win rounds or hurt Errol Spence? I think that first round's going to be fascinating.
Well, you know, I don't think it's the first round that's really, I think it's the first 3 rounds, you know what I mean? We're going to have to really see how Danny comes out because, you know, he's usually starts slow. But I think for this fight, you know, Errol Spence is going to get him to start fast because Errol Spence is going to start fast and come at him.
But wouldn't Danny have, I mean, wouldn't you advise Danny first round? You got to jump on him, see what he's got, right?
Well, sometimes it's a mistake. He may be a mistake. He could get caught because he's not used to Errol Spence's style. He's got to get used to the style first and get warmed up into the fight.
I tell you what, if you wait rounds just to see if you can get to Errol Spence late, you're not getting to Errol Spence. I disagree with you there. Don't make me bring in Joe Goosen.
No, I said it could be a mistake. I mean, I know how I would fight the fight. Obviously, I would go out there and test him. Yeah, test his jaw, test his body, see if he's the same Errol Spence. If he's not, then I'll jump on him. But sometimes he could be the same Errol Spence, and I could get caught.
Oh, I don't think he should be reckless, Lennox. I just think he's going to have to press more. He can't just be in his conservative counter-punching mode and expect to get a decision here.
Yeah, but he's not known as a fighter that presses you. But he will mount an attack. I guarantee that.
I'd look to see that early because again, late. If you watch a lot of Spence fights, you're not getting Errol late. If Errol Spence is the same Errol Spence tonight here, final minute of round number 5. Good sharp left hand from Avelar, straight up the pipe. Another, like that left hand straight to the body. He throws shots to the chest.
Yeah.
And it's there, so might as well you can land. It's a scoring shot.
Lucas has actually gotten a lot better in the fight. He's relaxed a little bit more and is more into the fight. He's throwing better punches. His body's better. He's not up against the ropes like he was in the first few rounds. So he's adjusted. Good left hand by him.
That's a good counter.
I think that hurt him.
Yeah. Avelar's wheeling backwards. I believe that was a hook from Lucas that caught Avelar on the side of the head, and he did stumble backwards. Good hard shot there from Lucas again. He knows this is his moment. Counter as Avelar battles back. Bombs being thrown here as they get to the end of that round. Wow, let's see that again. Not over just yet, hold on. Oh. Errol Spence is the welterweight champion of the world. He's got the tunes playing, he's got the mask on. And he is in the building. He's just arrived here at the AT&T Stadium, getting ready for Danny Garcia in his title defense. I'm just saying, Lennox, that it gets good. There's Danny Garcia, very relaxed. I'm just thinking that if Danny Garcia fights the regular Danny Garcia fight, he will lose close, which he's done before with Thurman and Porter. But losing close, doesn't make you the welterweight champion of the world. And so I'm wondering if Danny and Angel have devised something that will bring more pressure on Errol Spence.
Well, you heard Angel. Angel said they ain't coming down here to lose. They're coming down here to win. And the way how Angel was talking, he's hyped for this fight. He's gotten Danny hyped for this fight. He's ready.
Well, look, Danny is very tough. He's mentally tough, physically tough. Got a granite chin. And he's got real power in that left hand. But no, Errol Spence, if he's 100%, is just very difficult to fight, to come up with something unless you're completely pressing him and you show that power.
Yeah, I mean, Errol Spence caused Sean Porter to throw way more punches in the fight between both of them than any one of Porter's fights. So, Errol Spence brings it. He brings the amount of punches, he brings power punches, and he makes his opponent either fight or lose.
Again, that's the main event, welterweight championship of the world. A lot more input there, and from Sean Porter himself. Sean is here with our crew. Good body Nice shot there by Lukas.
I like the way he came back with that right hand. He hit him with the body and then came back with the right hand. Good job by Lukas.
Sakaria Lukas there in the camouflage trunks, trying to get back into this fight. Is being outlanded by a wide margin, but throwing some good bombs, and it's always sudden death in boxing. Wipe out that margin in a hurry. That's a hard right hand. Straight up the middle, and he lands again. Another right hand lands. He's finding a home for that. He's gotten the range. Good hook by Avelar.
Avelar better be careful, because if he keeps on getting hit by those right hands, this is going to be a right hand that's going to affect him. That's going to affect his equilibrium and maybe knock him down.
Yeah, you can tell Lukas is getting better in this fight.
Yeah.
You know, early on it did look like he's just overmatched, and as Larry Hazard said, he just doesn't have enough in the toolbox, but he's showing a good learning curve here.
Yeah, he's settled down, plus he's taken Avelar's best shot, and I'm sure his corner said, yo, you took his best shot, now go out there. Go out there and start throwing some punches.
It's a cuffing left hand by Avelar. Able to land.
Lukas needs to throw that double jab, or even a jab, just to disguise that right hand a little bit before he throws it.
Bust your head.
Final seconds of round 6 here at AT&T Stadium. This is our final fight on FS2. We're going to jump right over to the pay-per-view. You can join us there. The final seconds here as Sakaria Lukas is making this a fight. Sakaria Lukas throwing this right hand. Lennox, look at this shot.
Oh, that was a perfect right hand. Avelar took that straight on the chick, and he took a good shot too, you know, but that just opened the door for Lukas to make him know that that door is open, so throw more right hands.
You know, Avelar, Brian Kenny here, Lennox Lewis, ringside. Joe Goosen will join us later, and Avelar looks, you know, just winning the fight easily, just totally overmatching Sakaria Lukas, and then Lukas finding another gear and finding a home for that right hand. He's landed it repeatedly over the last round or two, and is changing the whole complexion of this fight.
Avelar is switching from left to right, and it's actually working for him, because when Lukas throws his punch, he's just throwing the opposite punch. Right now he's a lefty. And I think, and you know, like I was saying before, when somebody turns lefty on you, they're not used to that style. So it's all okay to go right with your style, which is orthodox, and throw that right hand. That's why he's been getting caught with the right hands, because he's been getting caught because he's been switching, and he's getting caught switching. I mean, getting caught with a punch while he's switching.
Avelar, they're just landing that left hand and landing it again. Pawing with the jab, Sakaria Lukas. Able to find that. It's been a different sort of fight. Good uppercut there, another uppercut, and then a left hand by Avelar. So Canelito, which means cinnamon, little cinnamon, I guess.
See, I was watching in Lucas's corner, and his corner was saying, you know, throw a double jab, then a right hand, and sometimes throw a double jab and a right uppercut. So that right uppercut he hasn't thrown yet, but it will work.
Avelar looking to get rejuvenated here as we get to the final minutes of round number 7. We have good fights to open things up on the pay-per-view too, so I know, you know, on a normal pay-per-view night, it's a good left hand, a right hand rather than from Avelar. On a regular pay-per-view night, sometimes, you know, I'm going to take out the garbage and clean out the garage. I got time for the main event. But we got Eduardo Ramirez and Miguel Flores to open things up, and that should be an excellent fight. And then a rejuvenated Josecito Lopez at the age of 36 taking on Chia Santana. Those should be good brawls to open things up on the pay-per-view.
Good whipping hook by Avelar, right hook, and it's kind of hitting Lukas and hitting him off balance. It just throws him off balance every time he whips that hook around.
Avelar's motor being tested here as Lukas is taking him into the deep rounds now and making him work. See a little less steam on those shots. Final seconds, rounds number 7. We're going to take a short break, getting closer to our main event coming up here in Texas. You can buy the pay-per-view on foxsports.com/PPV pay-per-view. Click on the icon that says buy now. We are just moments away. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll start things there. 4 fights leading up to the welterweight championship of the world and the return of the welterweight champion Errol Spence Jr. taking on Danny Garcia. Here it's Issac Avelar against Sakaria Lukas, and Sakaria Lukas in the green camouflage trunks has made things interesting in the last few rounds. I wonder if it's changed on the scorecards. Let's go to Larry Hazard, who is scoring this unofficially for us. Larry, how do you have it?
Well, guys, I got Avelar ahead 68-65. But, you know, Lukas has started to make it a little interesting. In round 5 and 6, I gave him to Lukas. If Lukas was to just double up on some of his punches, he would do a lot better. Double jab, double right hand, left hook. You know, very basic skills, but he would do a lot better if he did that.
Larry working the corner. What do you think of that, Lennox?
No, he's right. I mean, you know, Lukas is really allowing Avelar to throw a lot more punches and get away with punches because he's not throwing punches back. So that's what's making Avelar look good in this fight right now.
Yeah, I'm glad to see Larry had that. You know, he gave 2 rounds to Lukas, and that really seems to reflect what's happened in this fight.
Well, the two rounds that he gave Lukas, he was right because Lukas was doing well. He was coming with that right hand. He was catching Avelar with the uppercuts and the body punches, but especially the right hand.
Hey, look, it's round 8, so there's 3 more rounds. He is very much in this fight, whereas early on it looked like it was a mismatch.
Yeah, you know that was Lukas. That was Lukas not really warmed up and focused on the fight at that time. But he's more focused right now. He's really developed into this fight.
Yeah, again, I think he's learned on the job, Lennox. I mean, he's 36, but he's just never faced this level of competition.
Yeah.
And he's brought in here on short notice. He takes this fight. He's clearly in shape, and he made weight easily enough. But he's coming out of Namibia. I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, 22 bouts in Namibia, 1 in Zimbabwe. This is his U.S. debut, and he's facing Issac Avelar here, who's just a very experienced guy.
Yeah, Avelar is doing the right thing because when Lukas is throwing punches, Avelar's throwing punches at the same time. And what he's doing is just slipping Lukas's punches and throwing at the same time Lukas is throwing.
Pick him out, Red.
Lukas trying to apply the pressure, moving forward on Avelar again in the final seconds. Canelito loses his footing. Again, these are important rounds too, could go either way, but it might get this fight a little bit closer. That'll end the round as both, oh wait, now that was after the bell. No question about that. We'll address that in a moment, but first, this big shot, posterizing again. 9th round, Issac Avelar out of Mexico, Sakaria Lukas of Namibia. Brian Kenny and Lennox Lewis here ringside. Lennox, we were just talking between rounds. You wonder what Lukas would be able to do if he was in the United States. That's a good body shot by Lukas, and got a steady diet of this type of competition.
Oh, it would be a lot better. Plus, you know, this is what all boxers want. They want a steady diet of great competition.
He's faced it here. This is a good opponent for him here in Avelar, but again, in early rounds, if you're just joining us, it looked like Avelar just had him totally outclassed, but that has changed in this fight. And I don't know, again, 2 rounds for Larry Hazard giving to Lukas. Not sure if he's got enough to win this fight, but he's making it interesting, and he's certainly learning on the job.
Yeah, and he's moving forward. He's not moving backwards. Remember in the start of this fight, he was on the ropes more, but this he's pressing a little bit more. I would like to see him go in with straighter punches instead of winding up and throwing looping punches.
Good fights coming up next, and we hope you join us over on the pay-per-view. You can hop on right over as soon as we're done. You can buy the pay-per-view now, but again, Eduardo Ramirez against Miguel Flores will open things up. And after that, the revitalized Josecito Lopez, who comes off a knockout win on John Molina against Francisco Chia Santana. Then the Towering Inferno, Sebastian Fundora. And then, of course, the main event's the welterweight championship of the world, hacking right hand there by Lukas.
Lukas caught him with a right, and Avelar caught him with a left.
Then there's some steam coming out of them, Lennox, but these are still like thudding shots. Like they're throwing everything they can with what they have left.
Yeah, I mean, Lukas would have better. He would have better success if he threw shorter punches. Right now, he's throwing long punches, and he's winding up before he throws those long punches, and then they're so long he's not bringing them back quick enough for his defense.
There's a hard left hand there, right up, and it caught Lukas flush on the face. Oh, I think they're just gassed, Lennox, right? I mean,
they're just going for it.
Yeah, they've thrown a lot of leather in this fight.
Yeah.
Over 600 punches thrown by Avelar and nearly 500 for Lukas. For those of you looking for college football, that's coming up next. We're wrapping things up here in Texas. And then we're going to jump over to the pay-per-view. Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia, welterweight championship of the world. But we're in the 9th round here at Cowboys Stadium. And we'll get you college football as soon as this is done. Final seconds, slugfest between these two here in the final rounds.
Yeah, the referee looking to jump in there. He doesn't want no last shots again.
Wow. All right. Woo. Hey, we welcome our pay-per-view audience, and we're excited to have you with us as we get ready for the welterweight championship of the world. Errol Spence Jr. and Danny Garcia. Little bonus coverage here of our prelims. That went long. There's the truth. Errol Spence is in there somewhere. And Danny Garcia, he's been in that position this whole fight, Lennox. Just relax.
Yeah, I mean,
chilling.
He's chilled.
Brian Kenny, Lennox Lewis here ringside. Kate Abdo and Sean Porter in our host position. Jordan Plant, our ringside reporter. Larry Hazard, our unofficial scorer. And this is round 10. Final round, Issac Avelar in the orange and blue trunks. Sakaria Lukas of Namibia in the camouflage trunks. It's been mostly a fight for Avelar, but Lukas has learned well on the job, and he has won several of these late rounds and has caught Avelar a bunch of times with good shots.
Yeah, this is the time when Lukas has to let it hang out. This is the last round. He's from Namibia, and he's not a home favorite, so he's got to come in there and throw some serious shots right now, and he's only got 2 minutes to do it.
I don't think he's won enough rounds, Lennox, but he's definitely opened some eyes here and making his U.S. debut. He's done himself proud because it looked like he was going to get wiped out.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's going to be a good opponent for a lot of Americans, and I'm sure a lot of American fighters are looking at him, a lot of promoters are looking at him,
right?
And hopefully he's going to get a lot more work in America.
And you know what? Because a fan could look at him and say, you know what, this guy might surprise you.
Yeah.
He's not in there to lose. He's 23-0. He has not lost at all as a pro. I don't think he's winning this fight. You see the punches landed. It's a wide margin, 2-1 for Issac Avelar, who has really earned his way into this fight. Clipping shot there on the face of Lukas. Jarred him back. He has outlanded Lukas 215 to 95 right now. And so it should be an easy cruise of a win, but he's had to work in the last few rounds. So a little bonus coverage here on the pay-per-view. Errol Spence Jr., Danny Garcia coming up later tonight. We're glad you joined us here right away. Had some good fights here already on FS2. And we will jump into our pay-per-view card. Eduardo Ramirez and Miguel Flores as soon as this fight is done. Lennox, I'm looking forward to that fight. Ramirez looked terrific, beating Ledwan Bartolome in those last fight, knocked him out.
Yeah, good fighter. I'm looking forward to that fight too.
Miguel Flores, his last fight was against Leo Santa Cruz, and he made an outstanding effort. Good uppercut there by Avelar. So that is a good evenly matched bout, I believe. Joe Goosen will be with us ringside. He was working the corner for Vito Milnicki Jr., who won his fight earlier tonight. So Joe will be out here once he cleans up. Body shot there by Lukas. As they hard trading now with what they have left.
Yeah, Avelar, when he comes around with these whipping punches, they're effective, and you know, Lukas is right there for him. You know, if Lukas moved his head a little bit more, he wouldn't get caught.
Good shot on the way out there by Avelar. Now he goes to the body and looking to punctuate things with sharp combination work as they trade in the final 10 seconds. Good fight.
Good fight. There was that last uppercut. I was looking for that uppercut all fight, and he threw it at the last moment.
23-year-old Issac Avelar there had to work against the older Sakaria Lukas. He's 36, making his U.S. debut, looking to stay undefeated. Doesn't seem likely, but we will get the decision in this fight.
Let me tell you, Avelar really impressed me. I love the way how he put his punches together. I love the way how he slipped and came back with his with combinations, and he boxed a good fight.
aesthetically pleasing, like the way he
Yeah.
punches, the way he plants, the way his balance, everything. Again, for those of you watching us on FS2, you can still purchase the pay-per-view, as the viewing experience will expire here on FS2 as soon as we're done. But the main event, the return of the king, the welterweight champion of the world, Errol Spence Jr., after that scintillating performance against Shawn Porter. Got the knockdown in the 11th round, was looking for the knockout late, did not get it, and it was an outstanding fight. 12 days later, his car crash in his Ferrari. He is back and not coming in soft. Going right into a super fight with Danny Garcia. That's the main event. Right now, let's get our decision here and go to the ring and Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Well, fans, after 10 rounds of action, the judges are in agreement. All three score with about 98-92 in favor of the winner, Issac Avelar.
Good decision. They got the right man, Lennox.
Oh yeah, but there's no shame in Lucas's game.